Hey everyone, welcome to Gadgets 360. By now, we all know that OnePlus refreshes its flagship smartphones twice a year. But even by that standard, it's really soon after the launch of the OnePlus 7 series that we already know what's coming up in the form of the OnePlus 7T. This device has been teased over and over again by the company. Now we finally have with us this big press kit, which contains the OnePlus 7T and a bunch of accessories. Now this isn't the box that you're going to be able to buy at retail, unfortunately, but it has been sent to us so we can get a first look at the product and some of its accessories. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Now before we get started cracking this huge box open, do be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you're notified of all our new videos. So as you can see, we have this big red box in front of us. Now of course this is not the retail box that the phone itself comes in. That should be inside this somewhere. This is just a kit that's been sent to us because we're reviewing the OnePlus 7T. So we're going to show you what's inside here and then get started with our actual unboxing. So let's open this out. Okay, that opens in a fairly interesting way. The first thing we can see over here is a OnePlus Bullets Wireless 2 headset that's been included for our benefit. We're just going to put that aside. Then lifting up this flap over here, we have a lint-free cloth to clean things with. We have what look like a bunch of cases, and that's our first look at the circular camera cutout that we've seen in several OnePlus teasers. So this is a bright red case. So the next one is OnePlus's famous sandstone textured case. There we go. And this one is a carbon case. Yes, that is the carbon texture that we've seen before. There's nothing else in here. So this must be the phone itself in a completely new box. So yes, this is the first time we're seeing a new box for a OnePlus phone since at least the OnePlus 2 or OnePlus 3. So this is what we've really come here to see. Let's get rid of everything else. And now we can get down to business with the OnePlus 7T. So you can see here we have this oblong bright red box, which is completely different to what we're used to seeing from this company. There's a message on the front over here which seems to tell us that OnePlus has got a whole new design effort going on, so that should be interesting to see. On this side of the box we have nothing but a logo, and on this side there's the product's name. Nothing on the top and the bottom. These labels on the bottom first of all tell us that we've got a Glacier Blue unit with 8 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage. Not much else to see. The price has been blanked out because this is a pre-release unit. We can tell that there's a Qualcomm Snapdragon logo here, but that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Dolby Atmos on the other hand is pretty interesting. And without further ado, let's peel off the plastic shrink wrap. Okay. So right on the top there's this little cardboard sleeve, and inside it we have an invitation letter. Let's open this. So here's a message from Pete Lau, co-CEO of OnePlus. We have some stickers, basic quick start guide, and a bit of information about how the plastic in this packaging can be recycled. And this is the phone itself. Take that out of its final protective layer. And here's our first look at it in Glacier Blue. Let's switch that on. And while it's booting up, we'll put it to one side and check out the rest of the box. So below this tray, we have a basic clear plastic case which will be included for everybody. We have another piece of cardboard with the SIM eject pin, a trademark bright red OnePlus cable with a USB Type-C connector, and a standard USB Type-A connector on this end. And finally, the Warp charger. So this charger is rated at 5 volts 6 amps, which means it has a 30 watt rating overall and is roughly the same size and shape that we're used to seeing. So here we have the OnePlus 7T with all its box contents, and we are going to now get a closer look at the phone itself. So finally, we get our hands on the new OnePlus 7T. We have it in Glacier Blue, and it's also going to be available in Frosted Silver. The first thing we can see is this matte frosted glass finish at the back, which is new, and there's a slight gradient to the color as well, which is fairly predictable for any phone now. We can of course see the huge circular camera bump at the back with 3 actual camera lenses all in a line and the flash at the bottom below there. So let's quickly go through the setup process and then we'll talk more about this phone's looks and features. And that's it. Setup process is complete. So here we have our first permission pop-up and what looks like an animated wallpaper. Now let's talk a little bit about the hardware and features of this phone. So what we have is a power button on the side and the trademark OnePlus alert slider. We have volume buttons over here. The SIM tray is on the bottom. There's of course a Type-C USB port and a speaker. Now this phone does have stereo speakers, so the one at the bottom works along with this earpiece, which looks pretty much the same as what we had on the OnePlus 7. Now we still have a notch in the front for the camera, but OnePlus says that it is much smaller than before, and our unit has a pre-attached screen protector. So let's get back to the cameras. Over here we have 3 on the back, as has been teased many times by OnePlus. The primary rear camera is a 48 megapixel sensor with an f1.6 aperture. This camera also has optical image stabilization and lets you record 4K video at up to 60 frames per second or slow motion 720p video at up to 960 frames per second. It's joined by a 16 megapixel wide angle camera and a 12 megapixel telephoto camera that lets you get 2x optical zoom with an f2.2 aperture. OnePlus also boasts of this phone's macro camera capabilities and says you can get as close to 2.5 centimeters to anything that you're trying to photograph. And of course, there's a camera on the front as well. This is a 16 megapixel camera with electronic image stabilization. In terms of camera software, there are also a few tweaks such as intelligent scene detection and a nightscape mode that combines multiple exposures to give you a much more detailed shot at night. On the inside, we also have a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 Plus processor, which is a new improved version of the Snapdragon 855 that promises up to 15% better graphics performance. We've also got an in-display fingerprint sensor over here. Of course, there's also news on the front of this phone, and what we have here is a new Fluid AMOLED display with a 20:9 aspect ratio and Full HD Plus resolution. But of course, another feature that's been teased multiple times about the OnePlus 7T is its 90Hz refresh rate. So that means games and all sorts of visuals should look much smoother. So what we see over here is Oxygen OS 10 running on top of Android 10. Which is pretty interesting because this is one of the first phones that has been launched in India to ship with Android 10 out of the box. And as we can see, we're already running the September Android security patch. So under this glass panel, we have a 3800 milliamp hour battery, and the big news here is that OnePlus supports Warp Charge 30T, which it says is 18% faster than Warp Charge 30, which was introduced with the previous generation. The OnePlus 7T weighs 190 grams and is 8.13 millimeters thick. It will be sold with 8 GB of RAM and either 128 or 256 GB of UFS 3 storage. So there you have it. That was our first look at the brand new OnePlus 7T and all its features and hardware. for much more detail, including everything you want to know about this phone's performance, cameras, battery life, software, and everything else, please do stay tuned to Gadgets 360 because our full review is coming up very soon. Thanks for watching.